calls, and the other platforms should be joining us shortly. Takes a couple seconds for everybody to come online. I think I've decided. I've been testing this out on a bunch of different days. We're coming on a little bit early today because usually I try and give myself some time to make sure that I got all this equipment working, and I'm getting the hang of it. I actually put together a video today explaining how I do all this stuff, how I go live all by myself. Off the bat today, I did want to talk a little bit about comments, because it occurred to me that not a lot of people have the experience of having millions of people follow them online, and I certainly did not in my life. I spent most of my life just being a behind-the-scenes voice actor, my adult life, and I didn't have anybody commenting on my stuff. Nobody knew what it was. I didn't start doing social media until January 1st, 2020 is when Banana and I went to the beach and we started doing this. And then I didn't really start, like if I got 6 comments in a video for the first year and a half, I was like, ooh, people paid attention. That was pretty cool. I didn't actually blow up until October of the year 2021. And that's when the gym girl video hit on TikTok. And I remember it. I remember it very specifically. I was in my garage working out. And like I said, I used to get like 6 comments a week on my videos. And I was sitting there working out, and all of a sudden I started getting like just comment after comment after comment after comment. The video went 1 million views in a day, which I've since done over 300 times, but then it was super unique. And for a long time, I left all my comments on. Like my phone would just feed me comments as they came in. And first I was popular on TikTok. Then I got popular on YouTube. Never really took off on Instagram. I got about 60,000 followers there. But between YouTube and TikTok right now, I've got over 3 million followers, have over 1 billion video views, and have gotten over, I think the number is like 10 million comments since October of 2021, which is like, it's just weird to give that many people space in your head. And because the comments, like I said, I was so excited about them and I was trying to build this community, I let all the comments just kind of roll in. They'd be happening throughout the day. It became like background noise for me. And most of the time, I think my channel has like a 99.6% thumbs up versus thumbs down. So the vast majority of them are super nice comments. I love hearing from everybody. I love hearing from everybody so much. That's why I started doing this call-in show, because I wanted to talk to people. But there were comments that would like stick with me, like nasty ones or mean ones, or the ones that used to drive me nuts were the people that would say like, oh, you're faking being blind, as if there was any benefit to me faking being blind or why I would do it. I have no idea. And those ones used to drive me absolutely nuts. So at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of 2024, my New Year's resolution was to try and not let the comments get to me. And what I did is I actually, I turned off the notifications so they weren't coming in a constant stream, but I'm still really about trying to be involved with the community. I see how many people I hear how many people these videos touch, and it means something to them. So I try and pop it in the comments as often as I can through voiceover sessions throughout the day and be active in the community. And I've kind of been failing at my whole goal of not letting the comments get to me because I'm in there all the time. And like I said, most of them super positive all the time. But this week I posted a video. I've had 4 videos this month that are either at 1 million or about to go over 1 million views, which is normally cause for celebration. But there's this one video I posted kind of out of context. I was wearing this wetsuit. I'm wearing the Blind Surfer wetsuit, and I'm standing at the edge of a handicap parking spot. And Nisha is saying something to the effect of like, finally, people aren't going to give me crap for parking in this spot because they understand that you're blind. And it was just kind of meant to be funny, like, hey, look, this wetsuit makes it really obvious that I'm blind, and that's why we're parking the handicap parking spot. Because before, we'd pull into the spot, we'd hang up the little placard, and then we'd both get out looking relatively able-bodied, whether it was me and Nisha, me and Brooks, me and Josh, me and Banana, whoever was down there. And a lot of times I was told that we'd get looks from either people or the parking cop would come over and kind of like scrutinize the handicap placard and like, what are you guys doing here? And then there were a couple of comments that came in right off the bat. And one of them was this person was like, I'm blind and I would never get a handicap parking pass. That's rude to the disabled people. It's rude to the people that are in wheelchairs. It's kind of pathetic that you do that. And I was like, wow, like I'm coming to this world as a newly, this whole sharing my blindness thing is new. I was abled, fully bodied, fully abled. I had sight, at least some sight, for most of my life. And sharing these stories of being blind is kind of difficult for me. And every story that I tell has a lot of thought and care and like, do I want to put this out there? Do I want to talk about it? Am I comfortable talking about it? You know, it took me a long time to start sharing that I was using the blind guy cane. I felt a lot of shame about that. And then parking in a handicap parking pass was not something that I took lightly. It's not like, oh, I just want to be close to the entrance. The person was from Colorado, and they're like, when me and my blind boyfriend go to the mall, we always park far away and we never take the handicap parking spots. Well, guess who else does that? This guy. Because parking in a parking lot using my blind guy cane and holding Banana's hand when I'm walking to the mall is not hard. But I will tell you, when you lose your sight and you can't see, crossing the street, getting from one block to the next becomes terrifying, honestly, which is there's dangers involved because most of the time I got a surfboard in one hand and I've got a GoPro in the other hand. So I don't have the cane. Even if I don't have the GoPro, I don't take the cane to the beach because the last time I did that, it got stolen. People will steal stuff at the beach. So I'm not wearing shoes and I have stepped on glass and nails and other stuff because I'm barefoot walking to the beach. So that's one hazard that I can't see what's on the ground. The other is the cars and the people, and there's tons of kids by the beach and I'm walking around with a surfboard and I'm blind. So it's kind of dangerous for me to walk a long distance if I have to park 2, 3, 4 blocks away from the beach, cross the street, navigate the stuff on the road, try and get around all the people, all the obstacles, the park benches, the trash cans, the stuff that's laying around, and not to mention all the people. I'm petrified of whacking into people with my surfboard. So yes, I got the handicap parking pass. It was issued to me by the state, and we will park close to the ocean so that literally I just have to cross the street. It's less danger for me, and it's less danger for the people around me. And the couple of comments just right off the bat, the person being like, I'm blind and I would never use that. And the other person used the comment, they're like, you know, my boyfriend is blind, but he obviously has legs. Like, yeah, I got legs. I got legs too. I use them, but that's not really the point. And I guess sometimes I have to realize as a content creator who's putting out videos that have gotten 1 billion views, that not everybody puts as much thought into each comment as I put into the video. And maybe they didn't think about that perspective. Maybe they didn't. But those are the things that kind of like stick with me throughout the week. Like, I'm not a jerk. Like, I want my audience to know I'm not a jerk. And I'm not like trying to take advantage of the fact that I got a handicap parking pass. Like, there's nothing to my advantage about losing my eyesight. It's made my life 1,000,000 times harder, and I'm just doing my best to navigate, live my life, and show everybody that it's still possible. And that's when people come to the comment section and give me a hard time about stuff. It kind of drives me nuts because I'm trying to spread this positive, happy message, and then people go and guff up my day by giving me grief about stuff like that. Anyway, just kind of wanted to get that off my chest. Just show the perspective that, yes, I am in the comments with 10 million comments in the past 3.5 years. I am listening to tons of them. I'm trying to interact with you guys, and I really love the opportunity to speak with you. In fact, we'll get to it right now. This is the Thursday Pete and Greet. I'm Pete. You're the first caller after my long monologue. Who's this?
Hello?
Hey, who's this?
Hey, it's you remember that kid a few weeks ago told you about surfing with a boogie board and got like a gut punch from it?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's me. I think I was like the first person to click on your live, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, ooh, I'll watch it. And I was actually so shocked that I was first one in, and then I saw everyone just start pouring in.
I've started, so I've been doing this thing like different days, different times. I was trying like the Saturday night show. I tried a Tuesday. We were doing Sunday. I've been all over the place, and I've done a couple Thursdays now, and that seemed to be the sweet spot. Last week was the busiest week, and actually, this is funny. The numbers on Facebook were the biggest by a lot, but I'll take numbers wherever I can get them from. I think going forward, I'm going to do this thing on Thursday every day from 4:30 to 5:30, except next week because that's Thanksgiving, and I will probably get a gut punch from my fiance Banana if I try and do this on Thanksgiving. But I think that'll be the day going forward. Do you feel like this is a good time to plop down and do the meet and greet with Pete?
Yeah, I feel like this is like the perfect time.
Cool. We're gonna be doing a big one. It's Banana, me, and Brooks. We're gonna do it on Sunday. That's gonna be the big sponsored one where everybody's here. But I think the usual weekly Pete and Greet is gonna be on Thursday at this time. You got anything going on today you want to talk about? You just saying hey?
Just saying hi.
All right. Well, I appreciate your popping in. I don't think you were the first one last week, but someone, what platform are you on? YouTube?
No, I was on TikTok.
Okay, everything looking good and sounding good over there?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for checking in. I appreciate it. It is the Thursday Pete and Greet. That's going to be the new time, the new day. I'm going to do that going forward. Funny that I say I'm going to do it on Thursday, every Thursday, and then next Thursday's Thanksgiving. But I think that's going to be what we're going to do going forward. The numbers are good. The interaction is good. People calling in. I love trying to get as many calls as possible. Let's get to one right now. It's the Thursday Pete and Greet. Who is this?
Hi, my name's Cooper.
Kendrick? Did you say Kendrick?
Cooper.
Oh, Cooper. Sorry. Jesus. I am deaf and blind sometimes.
I'm in school right now, so it's kind of hard to talk.
Okay. Well, what's going on?
Not much. Do you remember that kid a few weeks ago who called you from their bus stop?
I don't remember it being from the bus stop, but why? What happened?
No, nothing. That was just me. I hung up really quickly because my bus got here.
Oh, okay.
But, I just wanted to say hi.
Hello there. Is that you're home from school? I assume, not at the bus stop, waiting to get home very late at this point.
No, I'm home.
Okay. Anything going on, or are you just saying hey?
I had a few questions.
All right, fire away. Let's do some questions.
Have you ever gotten like I'm not trying to be too prying, but like has anyone ever physically assaulted you because they thought you were faking being blind?
There's 2 or 3 videos I've got about that. One time I did get slapped, and it was in this neighborhood that I live in right now. Someone was they had friends around, and he smacked me, and my glasses went flying, and I had Superdog with me at the time, and it was, yeah. And I heard it's been almost 3 years since it happened, but something to the effect of, oh God, he can't see, something like that. Like they were definitely trying to see, someone bet someone. They're like, well, I bet you if you take a swing at him, he'll move. And I didn't, because I can't see it coming. And they all bolted. And that was really, I went home and I actually posted something. I only posted on TikTok because at the time that was the only format that would let me go over a minute. I was really, really, really upset about that. And I posted a video not that long ago about a guy who kind of forcefully trapped me in the bathroom of a restaurant because he was convinced that I was faking being blind, and he didn't want to let me. Yeah, he didn't want to let me go until I think he was waiting for me to admit it, but then he was trying to force me to wash my hands. And I knew the restaurant, I knew the restroom. I'd been there before. I'd been shown around in that restroom. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to fight this guy. I'm not going to break out into a fight in a restroom at a restaurant. So I'm like, I'll just turn around and wash my hands. So I turn around, I go to the sink, and he's like, I knew it. I knew you could see. And I'm like, I know where the sink is because I've been here. It's my favorite restaurant. I go there twice a week. And it just kind of became clear to me that he was just not going to be satisfied. He was going to be a jerk. So washed my hands. The guy finally let me out. And then I felt really belittled and demeaned. But I didn't know what my other course of action to be. I mean, am I going to jujitsu the guy in a bathroom? Am I going to get into a fight over it? That felt a little excessive, so I just kind of let him have his way, which felt like the path of least resistance, but also made me feel really bad afterwards. I don't really know. I mean, it's hard to ask other people. What do you think you would have done? Would you yell at the guy? Would you go at him, or would you just do it and get out of there?
I probably would have. So I don't want to sound like a Karen while doing this, but I would have just minded my own business, and then after I washed my hands, I would go up to one of the waiters or one of the managers and tell them what happened.
Okay. All right. I'm glad to hear that, because that is what we did. We were friends with the owner. We actually got security footage. We figured out who the guy was just so, we'd know in the future. And we asked the bouncer to keep an eye on him. I mean, it wasn't, I didn't get assaulted. It's not like I got beat up, but it was just a really uncomfortable situation. And not knowing who is confronting you, that was kind of the scary part to me. I came back and I was with Brooks and Banana, and they're like, well, who was it? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what he so I couldn't point him out to them. And that's why we went to the waitress, the bouncer, and eventually the owner, just trying to figure out who is this guy. And we got the picture, and we have not, Banana's always on the lookout when we go to this place to see if he's there. And he hasn't been. I think he might've gotten a talking to from the staff, but yeah, I think a lot of people in that video were like, I would have fought him. I'm like, no, you wouldn't. I'm a grown up in a restaurant. I'm not going to start a fight in a restaurant. It just doesn't seem like it's going to end well for anybody.
All right, and then can I ask two more questions?
Go ahead.
I see like these other Vine YouTubers where it's like sometimes they'll have like a really small hole of vision in, like the middle of their eye. Is that what you experience, or is it just like nothing?
Oh, so I have a video. Oh, what the heck is it called? There's a video. It was the best explanation I could ever come up with. My vision did start getting eaten. There's that whole explanation. It's like looking at your elbow. Mine is called, I don't know. I forget the name of the video. It's got like 3 or 4 million views. It got really popular, but it is kind of like looking at your elbow. It's not possible. But for me, when I lost the central vision, when I very first started to lose it, it's not like there was a black hole. It's not like I'd like move my head around and this black hole would move. It just wasn't there at all. So in the video I'm talking about, what I did is I took a picture of me and my father and I folded it into 3 parts. So me and my dad were kind of in the middle part of it, kind of overlapping. And then I folded the middle part of the page away so that it went away, so that it wasn't there. It's not like there was a black hole. It wasn't a gap. It just didn't exist at all. So as my vision was fading from the center out, it wasn't like I had this tear in the universe. It's just that it wasn't there anymore. It would just combine the edges. It's kind of hard to envision, but if you can find that video, if you can figure out the name of it was, maybe I'll think of it.
It's really hard because you're like seeing out of your elbow, because I'm pretty sure that's like not comprehensible.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's because a lot of people, like tons of people in the comment section, especially on TikTok, everybody on TikTok thought that they had it nailed. They're like, oh, it's like closing your eye. You're closing one eye. I'm like, no, because that's still black. If you close one eye, you're seeing the back of your eyelid. It's black. It's the absence of visual input, but it's a color. When you lose the ability to see, when your cells in your eye die, it's the absence of anything. It's just gone. It's not there at all.
All right. And then my second question, have you ever heard of the LOL podcast?
Heard of what?
No, so like there's this podcast that's like, where like they always have guests on. It's called like the LOL podcast or something.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something totally different. I thought that was a long lead up to pranking me. No, I have not. Sorry.
No. This might sound kind of, I feel like you'd like, never mind.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to explain without like sounding like a nerd.
Okay.
Sounding like a nerd.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna grab the other calls. I appreciate the questions today. Glad you got home from the bus stop. Good to talk to you. I appreciate it. We're doing the Thursday Pete and Greet. This is going to be the new time, the new day of the show going forward, except on Thanksgiving Day. I am really happy to talk to you guys. Oh, I forgot to give out the phone number for the visually impaired and blind people. I'm so unhelpful to the people like me. 760-517-6844. If you can't remember me saying it that one time, tap in the description of any of the platforms we're on. It'll read it to you. 760-517-6844. The Thursday Pete and Greet. Who is this?
Hello?
Hey, who's this?
My name is Keaton Miller, sir. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Well, I am just playing my games right now, and I'm going to be chilling out for a little bit. But I've been wanting to ask you something. What's it like surfing?
It is. I as you can imagine, I might have answered this a few times. It's this past weekend. It was mildly terrifying. I posted a video called "Almost Drowning Makes the Rest of Life a Lot Easier." That's the title of it on YouTube, at least. And I paddled out into just this chop, this mess, normally the ocean, when I go surfing, there's a wave, you hear it coming, and then there's a break, and then there's a wave, you hear it coming, and I can kind of time it and enjoy the process of getting out there. And this weekend, it was so messy, so choppy, so windy that I was trying to paddle out into it, and I couldn't hear the difference between one wave and the next. And I honestly started having a bit of a panic attack. What I didn't have time to fit into the video is we got out once, and I was almost all the way out. And I haven't had this feeling very much, but as you can imagine, going out into the middle of the ocean, not necessarily orienting yourself in any other way than your own magnetic compass and hearing. Like, I can't just look around and be like, there's the shore, there's out, like, I'm really just using all of my senses to kind of just focus on where I am. And when my senses get overwhelmed because it was so noisy this weekend, I really got panicked. And I got almost all the way out. I could hear Nisha. She's like, "You're almost out. You're almost out." And as much as I tried to take a breath, I was doing the process of breathing. I was going, but it just wasn't happening. Like I wasn't getting air in. I was definitely having a panic attack. So I turned my back to the wave. I let it shove me all the way back to the shore, and I had to regroup. The second time I tried to go out, it was so brutal. It ripped the glasses off of my face. We got a hold of those. And the third time we went out, this is what made it into the video, is when I really just kind of got myself centered, focused, listened to Nisha's voice, listened as best I could to what the ocean was telling me, and made it out past all that chop. And it was very gratifying. And to answer your question, yeah. And so to answer your question, the what it feels like surfing, it feels triumphant every time because it is exceptionally difficult. I think that the sport that I've taken on, while I thought it would be something that a blind person could do, unlike, baseball and tennis outside of using beep balls, I thought surfing would be an appropriate sport for a blind person because I don't know, there wasn't, the sports I used to play like football and Frisbee, I couldn't do those very well anymore without my vision. So I took on this sport thinking it would be something I could tackle, and it ended up being so challenging. Just going out there and orienting yourself in the water and finding waves and timing them out and getting on them. The feeling I get when I accomplish a difficult paddle out or when I get on a wave and ride it is really, I just can't describe it to other people. I think other surfers enjoy surfing for what it is. I think for what it means to me is a whole different level of accomplishment and independence. The fact that I can, I'm rarely allowed to walk down the sidewalk by myself. Someone's usually holding my hand or guiding me. But when I'm on a wave, it's just me and the wave. And it's just really freeing and an amazing feeling for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I am glad I took it up, but I don't think I understood the very first time that I hopped on a board. I don't think I understood what the challenges were going to be like.
Right.
Have you ever surfed?
Grim is, I'm trying to look at the chat real quick. Somebody's saying, well, his name's Grim. He's saying, are you still doing voiceover work?
Oh yeah, I do. Voiceover work is thank you for reading the chat, by the way. Without Brooks here, I can't get into the chat. I did a video.
I'm always here to help, man.
No, I appreciate it. Anybody wants to relay something in the chat? I thought you were going to say Grim's telling you that the audio in this thing is bad. Like if there's technical issues, I need to know those as well.
Yeah.
The voiceover thing is I wake up, 6:00 in the morning and I'm reading all day, every day. During the election, because I do so much work for news stations, I was reading over 100 sessions a day. And it was a lot. It was just kind of nonstop. They started backing up. I get like 5-6 sessions all backed up in a row and just kind of plow through them as fast as I could. I got a video I posted, I think it's about 7 or 8 weeks ago. It says, "Have you heard me?" And it showcases a lot of my bigger work. That one just hit 3 million views today because it showcases I've been on CBS, Fox, ESPN, Cartoon Network, Comedy Central, ABC, HBO, I think Hulu, everything, Netflix. I've done stuff for everybody, and I just kind of put it all back to back in a reel, and people are like, oh, that's a lot of stuff. So yes, I'm definitely doing a lot of voice acting.
Okay. I was wanting to know if you wanted me to read your chat for a minute, because there's like a lot of people that are chatting in here.
Anything good? Are you
Frankie's asking, how can I do the call thing? And I'm just going to say this. If you go to the description of the video or the stream, you will see his phone number pop up.
Yep, you should see it on the screen. If you're visually impaired, you can tap on the description and it'll read it to you. 760-517-6844. We allow it's a phone tree system, and there's 6 people that sit in there at a time, and you get put in hold and then kind of cycle through. I try and get to as many calls as I can, but I also try and give people time when they get on.
By the way, I haven't done this before, so this is my first time.
This is your first call? And first time moderating my chat?
Sir.
You're pretty good at it. I appreciate it.
I mean, the first time I tried calling you, it just literally disconnected me the entire time. It just said, Pete's lines are very busy. Try to do it again soon, and it just immediately failed.
Yeah, it'll disconnect you. Well, when we first got this set up, we had it set up by Zoom, and when we very first did it, they allowed 60 people in there at a time. So everyone, like there were 60 people that were all waiting. They were all in there, but I was never going to get through 40, 50, 60 calls in the course of an hour. So I felt really bad making people wait, knowing that they were never going to get on. So we limited it to 6. Chances are if you get through, if you don't hit that Pete's lines are busy thing, you'll probably get on during the show. This is why we tried to do it that way.
Right.
Which chat are you in, by the way? Are you in YouTube or are you in TikTok or where are you at?
Hold on.
I got put on hold.
No, I'm not on hold. It's just that my brother was in here for a minute.
Okay. Well, let me go. I appreciate the moderation very much. I'm gonna see if I can grab some other calls if that's okay.
All right.
It is. You
All
know
right,
what?
That's okay.
Actually, you know what? You might have to read. I'm getting a tick, tick, tick on my computer. I'm going to have to turn the show over to you for a second because I have to walk out of the screen, walk over to my computer, and reset something. So I'm going to give you the show for 60 seconds. You going to read some comments for me?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's all yours. First time that you call, I'm giving you the show because there's an error message on my computer. I will be back. You entertain everybody.
All right.
I don't know how he's going to do, and I don't know what happened with my computer, but I'm going to figure it out.
Jojo Cruz 8, tell him I said hi. He said that twice in a row. Oh, you got a rose, Pete. Zap Live says hi.
All right, everybody.
My brother is Tom K. Who's that? I don't know.
How'd you do? Did you crush it?
I don't know who Tom K is. There's like a lot of people saying hi.
Well, hi everybody. I think I fixed the phone system. I have to let me see if I can grab another call. If I did, I fixed it. If not, you're just going to be my permanent co-host for the whole show. So
oh boy.
Let's see if I are you still? No, it looks like I fixed it. All right. I'm sorry for getting rid of him, but that was the only way for me to test to see if I fixed this thing, and I got it working. That was some good. Hopefully, he did some good filling in for me. This is an adventure every time, just me hosting by myself, and then maybe you guys will end up hosting when my computer starts glitching. It's the Thursday Pete and Greet. Who's this?
Hello.
Hey, who's this?
My name is Caro.
Caro?
Carolina, but Carolina. I'm a big fan, all the way from Ecuador.
Oh, wow. Are you calling from Ecuador?
Yes, I am indeed.
Wow.
I just don't want every month I have 100 minutes to call outside the country.
Okay. Well,
and I don't want them taking that money away from me because I didn't call someone outside the country.
Well, thank you for using your minutes on us.
I really wanted to say that I love your content. I've been watching for a couple of years. You've inspired me to pursue a career in voiceovers and voice acting.
Oh, wow.
And it's been going. It's a slow and steady process. Here in Ecuador, there's not much to do apart from ads.
Yep.
But it's been extremely rewarding and something that I didn't see myself doing until I was inspired by you to start like a radio voice lessons essentially in my country.
Wow, that is awesome to hear. And it is, I'm glad that you're sticking with it because saying that it is slow and steady is how it is for everybody. Nobody gets into voiceovers and starts booking network jobs and TV promos and trailers right away. I mean, I spent years. I spent 5 years just doing stuff for free before I got my first job, and it was about 10 years or more before I started making any real money. It's a slow process, but if it's something that you enjoy and it's something that you're passionate about and you're going to stick with it, I think it's a great career. Are you enjoying the path and the process right now?
I am. It's been very interesting to be able to do radio, advertising. I did a really weird ad for a medicine.
Did you?
And thankfully it was just my voice. It was an ad for it was something about hoochie dryness. Like, oh, my life has changed now that I have this product. And it was just like, okay, great. Now people who know it was me, they are just like, oh my God, are you okay? Do you have dryness? And it's just like, shut up. Shush.
Yeah.
Shush, my fellow.
It's just a job. I don't have the chronic illness. Well, good for you. You're actually, so you're already, you've been doing it for what, a couple of years, and you're already booking jobs and getting work?
Yes.
That's impressive.
I mostly do something that I think landed me the good jobs is because there's some radio novels.
Yep.
Like they used to have before.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And it was really interesting because it's a very, very strange kind of job. It's not like, oh yeah, I narrate a character for a radio novel, and it's just like, oh, cool, that's great.
It's fun.
And I've also helped, aspiring writers
Yeah.
in my country
That's
to have
great.
like the audio versions of those books.
Audio versions of books are getting more and more. I used to, I've been losing my eyesight for most of my life. I was unable to read textbooks by the time I got to high school. And there just weren't as many audio books back then. It was hard to get your hands on audiobooks, but whatever I could get, I would always listen to. I used to listen to audiobooks on cassettes. And when you got like kind of a long novel, you'd order it and you get it in the mail and it'd be like 36 cassettes. You'd be walking around with this big giant brick of cassettes and flipping it over every 45 minutes and getting to the next one. Now, I'm just on Audible and I just have endless amounts of audio. I'm listening to audiobooks all the time. It's a great way for authors to get their stuff out there to other people. And the art form of audiobook narration has just gotten so high. The things I used to listen to in the 90s versus the people that Ray Porter, Stephen Pacey, Michael Kramer, some of these narrators that narrate a lot of the genres of books that I listen to are just so amazing at painting characters and doing accents and bringing the story to life. I love audiobooks. Huge part of my life.
Yeah. Not only for the accessibility part for like blind people and for dyslexic people, for example, it has opened the market to people who weren't big fans of reading or books because either they didn't have the time to sit with a book.
Yep.
Or, for example, I have dyslexia, but I did get like lessons and stuff, so I can read and all that stuff, and it's quite wonderful to be able to help someone who wasn't in the position to pay another, like a big voice actor or someone to read their books.
Yep.
Has made it it's been very, I'm sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I really love your content and I'm a very big fan of your content.
Well,
I really love.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm going to grab some of the other calls. I'm really excited to hear that my work is inspiring to you and that you've actually started doing voice acting. That's I love it when anybody pursues that passion. It's a really tough road. I think a lot of people that think they're going to get into voice acting, give it a month or two and say, I haven't gotten a job and kind of give up quickly. I mean, like I said, it took me years, but the opportunity to put my voice, my personality, myself into other people's work and bring it to life. And I felt like I thought I'd done everything in voice acting. I thought I've done audiobooks, I've done cartoons, I've done movie trailers, radio, blah, 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 blah. I've done everything. I actually got to do something this week that I've never done before. I got hired by a company called Simple Films to do an NFL fantasy commercial. And the part that I played was the NFL play-by-play announcer. They needed an announcer specifically for this commercial. And I called the play. I'm going to see if they'll let me share it. It was super cool getting to be it wasn't, I didn't go to a game and call a real play. It was a play that they had and I did the voiceover and at the 20, at the 10, he scored. cars. And I really got into it. It was super fun getting to do that. Like every time I think I've done everything in voice acting, there's always just this one other job. I'm like, you know what? I've never done that before. So that was super fun. This is the Thursday Pete and Greet. 760-517-6844 is the phone number. Who's this?
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, my name is Kai Daniel.
Kai, what's going on?
I live in the Bay Area in California.
Cool. What's going on
And
today?
I have 2 questions for you.
Sure.
One, have you ever competed in a surfing competition?
I very unknowingly signed up for a surf competition my first year of surfing. I think I'd been surfing for 18 months, and I live in North County, California, which is where a lot of really incredible surfers just so happen to live. Rob Machado is one of them. He makes my surfboards now. Taylor Knox, part of the Momentum generation, is another one. And I went to what I thought was going to be this local friendly group of just local surfers. I mean, I barely knew how to surf, and I thought I'd just sign up and try. Why not? Experiences are fun. And in my heat was Taylor Knox, like one of the top ranked surfers in the world for a long time. And I was like, oh, that's what this is. And I learned a lot about the format and how surfing competitions go. For those that don't know, I always thought you just kind of went out there and took your time, and because I didn't know anything about surfing before I started, and I thought you'd get judged on whatever waves it's a timed heat. You paddle out, you go out, you got to think either 15 or 20 minutes. You got to catch as many waves as you can in that period of time and do as many cool things on them as you can. And if during that period nothing comes through, you're just kind of out of luck. And if you do happen to get some good waves, you got to make the most out of them. And I kind of made a promise to myself that everything I've done in my life, whether it was other sports, I used to be a competitive sailor, or even my work as a voice actor, everything in my life I kind of turned into a competition. And I've been very competitive my whole life. You know, I compete against other voice actors. I would compete as a sailor. I compete at everything. And I decided that I wanted surfing to be my one relaxation, my one like outlet where I could just enjoy myself. So I told myself I would not do competitions. I did that one. I just kind of wanted to learn what it was about. And I decided I'd rather they call it free surfing. Just go out and have your fun and do it at your own leisure. And I enjoy that. I don't want to get wrapped up in the competition trying to see who I'm better than, if I can compete in this heat. And also travel is difficult. So there's a few reasons I don't do it anymore, but I did do the one.
Oh, that's cool.
And what was your other question?
I got a second question.
Yep.
Do you ever plan on getting a new guide dog?
Well, I have Steve. He's not in here right now. He's running around the house.
Oh, you do have anyway.
Yeah, and there's kind of a long story, which I don't want to spend the whole hour getting into why we ended up with the German short-haired pointer. But we went from a Doberman who definitely worked as a service animal. It was within his breed and his temperament, and he got really good at it, even though he wasn't trained from a young age. We were led to find a German short-haired pointer, which is what Steve is, and he's a hunting dog. And people had told us he's not going to make a very good service dog, but we felt strongly that was the kind of dog we wanted. And we had him with a trainer. He lived with a trainer for a while. He's lived with us for almost a couple of years now. And try as we might, he's just not working as a service dog. But that doesn't mean I don't love him. It doesn't mean he's not a great friend. He's a really good companion. He's a good big brother to Skylar. He's just a great guy to have in the house, but he's not so great at leading me around. So at this point, we've got the 2 dogs. We've got Steve and Skylar, the German short-haired pointer, and a Malshi. And my life doesn't require me to go out and about on my own very much. So I don't necessarily need another service dog right now. So it's not in the cards. I'm happy to take walks with Steve and do some stuff in the neighborhood. But I don't need anything more advanced than that at this point in my life.
Okay, I have one more question.
Sure.
What is your favorite place to live?
It's funny. I absolutely, so I lived most of my life in Boston. I lived in New York for a while. I spent some time in Vegas, and now I'm here in Southern California. And I'm thankful for all of my time in all those places. I learned a lot. living in the Northeast. It shaped me, it molded me, it educated me. I learned a lot about business and the pace of business and just kind of a fast-paced life when I was living in Manhattan. But I have to say, at this point in my life, where I am, what I'm looking to do with myself, I enjoy the heck out of Southern California. It's just such a nice pace for me, kind of go at my own pace, do what I want. I get to go outside all the time. Being someone that doesn't drive and being stuck in the Northeast when it snows, I was just stuck in my house from December through April. With no snow out here, there's a degree of freedom that I feel living in the San Diego area that I would have if I had to move out of here, I'd be pretty bummed out. I love it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the calls today. Let's see what the time says.
4:59 p.m.
It's 4:59 already. I think I started this at about 20 past, so we definitely got some time to go. It is the Thursday Pete and Greet. 760-517-6844 is the phone number. This is going to be a weekly thing. We'll be doing it on Thursdays, except for Thanksgiving. I will get yelled at if I do this on Thanksgiving, but let's see who we got next on the lines. Who's this?
Hello, my name is Joseph.
Joseph, what's going on? What platform are you watching on?
I am actually watching you off of Facebook.
Cool. You know what? Facebook was I was impressed with the Facebook numbers last week. I wasn't even sure. I've only got 10,000 followers. Here's a crazy thing, Joseph. I got 10,000 followers on Facebook. I've got 2.4 million on YouTube. But out of the 10,000 followers on Facebook, I had 7,000 people watching last week. I was like, wow. Facebook really wants people to watch their live videos. Yep. So we're back on Facebook. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I only have a couple questions. So how long have you been blind?
I don't have, it's not like there's not a day that I woke up and I was like, crap, I'm blind today. I've been losing my eyesight ever since I was a little kid. I noticed the degradation when I was 8. I would say, so I transitioned from telling people I was legally blind to telling them that I was blind. I think that's a good line of demarcation for the whole thing. About 7 years ago. So it was about the time I actually moved out here to California. It was about the time I picked up surfing. For the first year that I was surfing, I could actually walk to the beach myself. I mean, it was still kind of sketchy. I couldn't see the cross lights. I couldn't really see all the cars, couldn't see the people, but I was mostly comfortable walking to the beach on my own. By the end of that year, it was 7 years ago, that's when I started working with the blind guy cane and trying to teach Superdog to do some guiding. And that's when I became...
Were you blind in New York?
No, I actually... No, that's fine. In New York, I was only 22, 3, and 4, or 1, 2, and 3. I can't do the math right now. I think I was 22, 23, 24 when I was in New York, and my vision was bad. It was noticeable to people. I didn't have any central vision. I couldn't look them in the eye. Going down the sidewalks was a bit treacherous because the New York sidewalks are just millions of people coming, and there would be people coming in and out of my blind spot all the time, and I'd be like tap dancing down the sidewalk. And I thought it was bad. Like I remember thinking like, oh man, this blind spot is so hard and everything's blurry, and I was never able to read pages in a book or menus or anything like that. And I remember thinking like this is so hard. But for the most part, I was pretty independent in New York. I lived in Times Square. I used to walk to a grocery store. I'd do my grocery shopping by myself. I went on some dates. I'd meet girls at restaurants, get there by myself. And in retrospect, all the complaining I did about how crappy my eyesight was back then, if you could give me that eyesight right now, I'd be psyched. Because I didn't really understand how much worse it was going to get. Now, I'm actually curious about going to New York. If I went back now and tried to walk down the sidewalk with a blind guy cane, would everybody jump out of my way, or would I just crash into everybody? I'm very curious about that.
So I'm from New York also. I'm also legally blind. I've been legally blind my whole life, so I don't really notice a difference. I suffer from what they call nystagmus. With me being albino, it's constant eye jiggling movements.
Yep.
One of the things they do is they do a nystagmus test when they do a sobriety test to see if your eyes are moving.
Oh, right.
That's what I always see all the time.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Did you ever work for any of the agencies or any of the blind agencies or anything like that?
No, I've done some speaking engagements. I've spoken to the Perkins School for the Blind in Massachusetts. I went down to Miami and spoke to the Miami Lighthouse. I never really got terribly involved. It was kind of like my just whole thing of denial. Like I said, I didn't know how bad it was going to get. And I kept thinking if I lived in the sighted world as much as I could, I wouldn't have to admit how bad my eyesight was getting. So I didn't do a lot with blind organizations until much later in my life. I feel like there's the blind world and there's the sighted world. And I've always tried to stay in the sighted side. I don't know. It was kind of a defense mechanism for myself. I felt like if I didn't admit
it's hard. It's hard to get jobs when you tell somebody you're blind. I understand that too. When you start saying that you have a vision problem, people are like, oh, and they step back and they're getting kind of nervous.
Yeah.
In their own like aspects too. I agree.
Yeah. The nystagmus is interesting. You explained it, and people notice it a lot in my videos. I feel like it's kind of going crazy on me today for some reason. I do have light sensitivity, and for some reason, I feel like the light's kind of drive my eyes nuts today. But yeah, they jiggle constantly. And I've done a couple funny videos where I was like, I'm a vampire. I'm hypnotizing you with my jiggly eyes. But yeah, I've also done videos to your point about as soon as you walk into a place. You know, I felt like I had to, when I was interviewing for jobs, I felt like I had to come in with with unreproachable documentation and credibility that I was the absolute best for the job. Because if you go in and you're just another applicant with crappy eyesight, you get overlooked. You just do. They see you as, well, everybody else can see and this guy can't, so we're putting them on the side pile. And that's why.
Right, but they can't do that. Like, they can't say that to your face. Right. So it has to be something else, you know. Yeah.
But I mean, you know what's going on. Yeah. I mean, so any time I went, you know, and I've basically always worked in entertainment, so my skills were a little more measurable. But yeah, I can imagine if you're just going for like a regular accounting job or something, and you're the person with visual problems, and then there's someone that's not, it's really hard to get people to overlook that. Did you say you're also albino?
Yes, I'm also albino. Yes, so that's a common thing is weak eye muscles in the back for albinism.
Yeah.
So people that have albinism, they have weak eye muscles. But what do you use? Zoom text? Do you use Fusion for your voiceover, or do you actually use JAWS?
It's a JAWS-like program, and it's I don't think anybody else I know uses it. It's just so I started using something that's kind of meant for the visually, it's not really meant for blind, it's meant for visually impaired, but I got really comfortable with it. I use something called ClaroRead. Yeah, no one's a CLAROREAD.
Okay.
And so what I do is, since I can see light and dark, I'm not looking at the monitor for the words, but what I'll do is I'll copy the block of text. I see it as a light on black, and then I put it up on the screen, again, light on black, and I just shoot my cursor to the top left. I just go all the way to the top left of the screen, so I know it's up there. And what I do is I've macroed everything in ClaroRead to a mouse. So the script starts reading. It'll say, you know, tonight on ABC, it is the action adventure that you've all been waiting for. And so then I say, you know, tonight on ABC, it's the action adventure you've all been waiting for. And then as I start to catch up to the text, I'll either increase the speed of the text to speech, or if I'm lagging, I'll slow down. The ClaroRead will let me pause, stop, speed up, and slow down as I'm reading. Which I don't know if JAWS does. I've just gotten so comfortable with ClaroRead. That's the software that I use. But I will say that when I'm out on the road, when I'm not in my studio, what I use is my iPhone, which obviously I can't look at at all. I can't see anything.
Siri's the best for everything. Steve Jobs had a daughter that was visually impaired, and he made everything all that kind of way. It was one of the biggest things.
I actually did not know that. Is that why Apple has such a focus on accessibility?
That's way ahead. Yeah. I mean, Android's getting there, but Apple's still so far ahead for everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I grew up, I had a PC back in the 80s. I was always a PC guy, but when it came to the phones and I started realizing the amount of accessibility technology that I needed, I mean, I'm like, you know, I play the iPhone like I'm playing the piano with the triple finger swipe, the two tap, and then, you know.
Oh, sure.
All the gestures. And then I totally screw people up. You might do this too. You just put the screen curtain on, because like, what's the screen doing for me? I can't see it. So screen curtain just turns the screen black. Or even
ask Siri to tell you something like, what time is it? You just did that one there. You're like, what time is it?
Yeah.
She told you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if you're looking to try any other programs, but I like Claro Read. It works well for me. It's so when I had enough vision. So I started getting into voice acting when I was 18. And if I blew up font to 24, I remember 24 point, and I printed it out, I could kind of see 24 point font, kind of. Then by the time I was 20, I couldn't see it. I used to have to take a magnifying glass, like a straight, I think I have one. I feel like I always have one around. Yeah, they're just like all over my house, like a magnifying glass. And what I used to do, I don't know why I still have these things. They're everywhere. I used to hold it up to the script and read it like it was.
I do. I have it all. Yeah.
There's literally like 30 magnifiers all around my house because I just used to have them all the time. And so what I would do is I would hold that up over the script and I'd read it letter by letter, word by word, TONIGHT, tonight, ON. It took
when I was in school, when I first had my vision problem.
Go ahead. Did you do that as well?
Well, in school, they used to have like one of these CCTV machines that are in the back of the class, and it was an old clunky thing, and it would make so much noise and squeak all over the place. And it was like Four Eyes was one thing, but oh my God, you like having a big huge TV that made so much noise. It was really distraction.
I had one of those. It was a VTech.
Those textbooks were huge too back in the day.
Oh yeah, they gave you the 24 by 36 textbooks.
Crazy.
This is the things people that don't. I went to school. I was carrying textbooks that were 24 by 36. That was my book. I'm walking down the hallway carrying these giant books, and then they sent me to school.
Pulled out pages.
Yeah, and they sent me to school with a binocular. It was half a binocular, so that's how I used to look through that to see the chalkboard. And then I had the same thing. Mine was called the VTech unit, and in the back of the classroom was this big sliding tray mounted underneath a camera that would zoom in on the text and just show the screen. It would just blow up the book on the screen, and I was like, "Oh, am I ever going to get through school with all this stuff going on?"
Exactly.
Eventually,
I had a hard time reading.
Yeah, I just stopped trying to read. Like I went to books on tape is what I focused on, and then I asked the teachers, if you're writing something on the chalkboard, can you just say what you're writing? That'll help me out. So I started making different adjustments.
So
and then,
if you ever, one of the things for you to. A live scribe pen has been my savior for writing things out because it records, and it also, as you write it down, you can touch the certain parts of the paper to go ahead and find out what they say. So it's live scribe. It's
okay, that's kind of cool.
You can get it in Best Buy. It's really good.
I've been the thing that got me through school is I somehow developed this ability. If I mechanically go through the motion of writing something, even if I can't see it. This is how my memory works. If I need to remember something, I will mechanically, I can even do it in the air, and then I remember that. So I remember the way I used to prepare for tests in high school was I would, listen to a chapter of a book, and as the book was being read to me, I would write out notes, and it was all, I think I was writing over the same sentence over and over. Or like if someone else tried to look at it, they'd be like, "What is this? This is like Charles Manson nonsense." It didn't look like anything. But then I'd go to school the next day, and they'd ask me a question about the history test, and I would remember the mechanical motion of writing, and that's how I remembered stuff. That's what really got me through school. That was my mechanism.
Genius. Yep. I remember those days too. School was such a rough thing for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard when you don't, as far as you having to remember things from reading perspective, as far as being all that.
You know what the biggest kick in the nuts was? It was an open book test. I was like, cool for everybody else.
Right. Yeah, good for you.
Everybody else gets to open and flip through the book and look at the answers, and I just got to try and remember what I read last night.
Exactly.
All right. You know what? I'm going to try and grab. Thank you. It was really, really nice talking to you. I'm trying to grab some other calls to get through. Thanks a lot. Yeah. I throughout my life, I didn't get to talk to, deal with, be friends with other visually impaired people. I was very isolated in my experiences. I just didn't know anybody else that was going through what I was going through. It was just a function of the times, the place. There wasn't YouTube, there wasn't TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. There was no one that I could look to and go, "Oh, this person is going through what I'm going through." So that person, we can sit there and laugh about it. But honestly, it was pretty mortifying back when I was in school to have to use those accessibility features when I was the only one in the school that had to do it. It is 5:13 p.m. That means the people on TikTok, this is a TikTok bug that I don't like. So after I've been on for an hour on TikTok, it kicks me off because it says that I've been inactive. I'm going to try and take this for a little while longer. If all of a sudden the TikTok thing ends, you can come on over to YouTube, youtube.com/blindsurfer. Yeah, they want you to be active and type comments, or else they kick you off. And I can't do that from over here. I can't even do it when I'm holding it. So if I go away on TikTok, follow me over to YouTube or Facebook, youtube.com/blindsurfer. It's the Thursday Pete and Greet. Who is this?
Hello, my name is Ethan.
Ethan, what's going on today?
Oh, not much. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm having a good time with this today, talking to a lot of fun people and really appreciating everybody wanting to call up and chat with me.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, I've just been relaxing and stuff. I can't really do much because right now I have a broken leg. So that sucks.
How'd that happen?
Well, I was at work about a month and a half ago, and I work in the masonry business.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do all this construction stuff. I was up on the scaffold, and then I fell, and then I fell about 7 foot, and on my way down, when I hit the ground, I hit a cinder block.
Ooh.
And it broke both the bones in my left leg. I think the tib and the fib bone. I forgot exactly.
Tibia and fibia. You got a 2-for-1 on that fall?
Yeah, two for one. So I've just been healing for that recently.
How are you? Are you totally laid up? Are you on crutches? Where are you at right now?
Well, I can move around in the crutches. At first, the doctors bandaged me up. They put like so much padding on my leg, I couldn't even move it, even if I wanted to. But now, since it's been over a month and a half now, so now they got me in a boot, so I can. And I've been using crutches, but I don't really like the crutches. I've been using a walker because it's just easier for me.
Do you put the tennis balls on the walker?
A little bit of, huh?
Do you put the tennis balls on the walker like the old ladies do?
Yes.
Nice. Why don't they just sell those with the tennis balls on them? Why do they make people get their own balls and cut them off and put them on?
It was actually a hand-me-down from my uncle.
Oh, great! So it came with balls attached already?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got it. When you fell, so you broke tibia and fibia. That's the two bones between your knee and your ankle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Not the femur, not the one between your hip and your knee, right?
Right.
All right. So you broke both those bones. I've never done that, and I hope if there was some wood, if anybody's out there and they can knock on wood on my behalf, please do so. There's none near me. I've never done that, but I've always been like, was it an instantaneous? Was it like snap, snap, and you knew? Like instant pain, or was you like laying there?
So when I fell, I fell straight down, like imagine like straight diving in the water, like from the feet. I fell down because I stepped on a board on the scaffold, and the board snapped in two, and I fell straight down. Didn't get a chance to react. So when I hit the ground, I didn't feel anything at first, but after 5 seconds, that's when all the pain started kicking in, and I fell to the ground and screaming, and oh man, it hurt so bad. It's like my brain sent the maximum number of pain receptors to that one spot, to the point where it naturally numbed my leg, which was weird because it was hurting, and in some parts I couldn't feel it, and I thought I had nerve damage. And,
oh Jesus. I've always wondered about like when you're in so much. I mean, I've had things like I got hit by a stingray before. I've been, I'm a grown up who's done action sports in my life. I've had my fair share of pain, but I've always wondered about something
you got hit
like
by
that.
A stingray before?
Yeah, twice. And the funny thing about a stingray thing. So this is probably more people have been had broken bones than have been hit by a stingray, and it's such a unique experience because I try and tell people, like, if you close your finger in a door, there's that moment like you had, there's that moment of like, okay, something happened. And then the pain kicks in and it's friggin' horrible. And then after a short period of time, the pain starts to go down. You get that throbbing, the pain, and then it starts to get a little better over time. A stingray hit sucks. At first, it kind of hurts. The thing it whips you, hits you with a barb, kind of lodges the barb in there, but it puts this venom inside you that makes the pain get worse and worse. And that's why it's the most unique pain, because I got hit by the thing. I walked out of the ocean. I was like, oh, I'd heard about stingray hits, and I was like, I can deal with that. Like, this pain's like, I'm pretty tough. Like, I was walking on the beach and there's like blood flowing out of my foot. I'm like, I can handle this. And then I sat down and I was waiting for the lifeguards to come tend to me, and the pain was getting worse and worse and worse. And they finally brought me home, and then they got me to my house, and I was supposed to put like scalding hot water, or, just short of scalding hot water on it.
Yeah.
By the time before I finally got the water on my foot, I was like, I don't know if I can deal with this pain. Like, it was so much worse, and it lasted for days. And then the damn thing got infected. So I was off my feet. The first time I got hit by a stingray, I was off my feet for 13 days.
Oh, 13 days.
Yep, because it got so badly infected and swollen. It was just a mess. So that
Hey, I have a couple questions real quick, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead. I've been talking about your broken leg this whole time.
My first question is see, I know you're a surfer. Have you ever had that fear of like getting stranded if you're like going out on the ocean, and then like not knowing where you're at in the ocean, if that makes sense?
I had a couple in the first year when I was surfing. I was just surfing on the inside. I was just catching, for the first 9 months, I was just catching whitewash. So I'd just go out as far as the waves would break, and then they'd get me back in. When Banana suggested I go out and do like real surfing, get past the break, there was a couple of moments. I was surfing by myself before I was nervous to ask for help from a coach. Like, I didn't want to come out here and be like, hey, I'm almost completely lost my eyesight and I want to learn how to surf. Like, I thought that would freak people out. So I was kind of trying to do it all by myself. And this was at a time when I still had some visual acuity. Like, I could kind of see the shore. Like, I could tell the beach was in front of me.
Yeah.
If I really looked, I'm like, okay, that's the way the beach is. And there was a couple times where I started to get pulled out just a little bit. And then that my ability to see where the beach was would go away. And I'm like, not quite sure where I am. and then I just kind of, you pay a lot of, like, the waves go towards the ocean. Even if they're not big and breaking, there's those little ripples.
Yeah.
So I sat there like real calm, just kind of tried to stay cool, and like paddled towards where I thought I was supposed to be going. And then like gradually it was like the curtain, like a gossamer veil being lifted from my eyes. I'd be like, okay, there I can see the beach again. It was a little petrifying a couple times. And shortly after that, for a number of reasons, I ended up reaching out, and that's how I found Josh, who became my first coach. Because, yeah, getting out in the middle of the ocean and not knowing which way is back to land is pretty scary.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, the ocean's a big place. It's most of the earth. It's real easy to get lost.
Yeah,
You don't know.
yeah. And you can get ripped out. I mean, generally, if you're surfers aren't going so far. And we know to stay away from the spots where there's big rips and big tide. But it can happen. It can happen. I just didn't want it to happen to me. So that's when I started. That's when I started the buddy system.
Yeah. And my second question is in the past you were not completely blind, but now you are completely blind, right?
I do have light sensitivity, so I can tell when there's a light in my face. Like, my Apple Watch, it has the time on it, but it's too small of a light source. I can't see that it's lit up. But if I'm standing in front of a car at night and they flip on the headlights, I'm like, oh, light. There's some light. So it has to be pretty big and pretty intense.
And so, are you able to see like any colors, because normally when I shut my eyes, or when you're in darkness, you see black. But if you're not able to see anything at all, it's a weird question.
No, I actually answered this one last week, so I'll give it to you off the air if you want to listen, and grab one more call after this, and I'll repeat this one again. So because I do have the ability to see light, when we installed our pool in the backyard, we put colored lights in it, and since it's a big body of water and the whole thing gets lit up, it gets lit up with blue, and there's a red, and there's a green, and there's a yellow, and because it's a massive light source, when I look at the pool, I can actually see, I can't look at a computer monitor. It's not big enough. I can't really see the color on that. But if I'm looking at this big source of light, like my lit up pool, I can actually enjoy the colors in it, which is actually kind of fun for me. It's 5:22 p.m. Started a little bit early. So we're going to do, let's say we'll get through one more call on the Thursday Pete and Greet. We'll make it a regular thing on Thursdays after this, starting after Thanksgiving. But one more call this evening on the Thursday Pete and Greet. Who is this? Hello? Oh, we can't go out with a fail.
Hello?
Oh, there we go. Hey, who's this?
Oh, this is Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob. You sound young to be Uncle Bob, but I'll call you Uncle Bob if you want. What's going on, Uncle Bob?
I'm Uncle Bob.
All right. You are.
Nothing much. Yep. How's your day been?
It's pretty good.
So, I have a couple questions.
Fire away.
So, how do you not get lost in the ocean if you're blind? Not to be rude.
Well, these days I'm always surfing with a coach, and if I get, I mean, we're just not going that far out as surfers. You know, the waves don't break that far out, so we basically go out to where they're breaking, and at that point you can kind of feel which way they're taking you. I will tell you, there's usually an east-west rip around here, so where I go into the ocean isn't always where I come back. But I don't end up turning around and paddling to Japan. I can generally find my way back to the beach.
Have you ever encountered with like a shark or anything?
I don't know. Because someone would have to tell me, and no one's ever told me that. I do know that I went surfing one day when I surfed with a former pro surfer, Taylor Knox. We went out in a shark warning. It was a big shark warning day, and there was a bunch of lifeguards in attendance because there were a bunch of sharks out there. I've definitely surfed with dolphins, and I have surfed the same wave. There's a video of me. I think it's like Blind Surfer and a Seal is the video, but me and a seal surfed the same wave at the same time. Seals are hilarious. They like to surf. They get into the waves and they ride down the waves, and me and a seal got on a wave at the same time once. It was pretty, I didn't know about it, but afterwards I was like, that was pretty cool. Those guys like to play.
Yeah. And do you have any other hobbies besides just surfing?
Yeah, I skateboard. I don't do it as much as I should. It's just been life's been really busy. But I got a collection of skateboards. I got surf skateboards in the garage. I like to. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but I like to wake surf and wakeboard. I do skimboarding sometimes. I've been known to play some frisbee golf with my friends. I've done rock climbing. I've been to the gun range a handful of times. And you know, I'm up for pretty much anything. I got a video where I was playing some soccer even after I lost my eyesight. I was out there trying to play soccer and shoot some goals with friends. I'll try anything. I try to go out there and you know, one of the reasons I moved to San Diego is to kind of come out here and be as active and have as much fun and do as much stuff outside as I could. And I'm trying to make the most of it. You know, I lost my eyesight. Lost the ability to do a lot of things the way I used to, but it doesn't mean that I can't do anything anymore. I just have to do them completely differently. So, you know, I'm in a great part of the country. I got a great support system, a lot of good friends. I've been building up my skills as a surfer, trying to stay in shape, work out like a madman so I can stay active. And I try and enjoy my life as much as I can, even though, you know, I don't have the asset of my eyesight anymore. But, you know, like I try and tell people, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Just because you can't do things the way you used to doesn't mean that you can't do things at all anymore. This is the Thursday Pete and Greet. We're going to call it there. I think we probably already lost the TikTok audience because they only let me have an hour. Thanks to everybody that tuned in tonight. We're going to be back. We're going to be back on Sunday, I believe at 2 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to be with Brooks. I'm going to be with Banana. That's the whole big show. It's going to be sponsored. I could really, really, really appreciate your support on that. And then, you know, we're going to try and come back after Thanksgiving for the Thursday show going forward, because I have a lot of fun doing this with you guys, get a lot out of it, and hopefully you do too. This is the part when I get up and try and figure out how to stop all these recordings and everything. So thanks for joining me. Talk to you on Sunday, and then the following Thursday after that. Thanks to everybody that called. I appreciate you all.